What if I told you that the official story of Chernobyl, the worst nuclear disaster in history, might be a carefully constructed lie designed to hide an even darker truth? What if the reactor didn't fail because of human error, but because something else, something far more sinister, was at play? To understand this terrifying possibility, we first need to rewind to the early hours of April 26, 1986. The Chernobyl nuclear power plant, specifically reactor number 4, was undergoing what was supposed to be a routine safety test. The world knows the outcome: a catastrophic explosion, a nuclear meltdown, and a plume of radioactive material that spread across Europe, rendering an entire city, Pripyat, a ghost town. The prevailing narrative, meticulously crafted and widely accepted, points to a combination of design flaws in the RBMK reactor and grave operational errors by the plant's personnel. They pushed the reactor too far, too fast, ignored safety protocols, and the consequence was unimaginable. This story has been retold countless times, solidifying itself as fact in the collective consciousness. But what if this narrative, while containing elements of truth, is merely a veil? A convenient explanation to prevent a deeper, more unsettling secret from coming to light? The official report by the IAEA and subsequent investigations focused heavily on human negligence. And yes, there were glaring mistakes. The operators disabled critical safety systems. They conducted a test under dangerous conditions. The reactor design itself had known instabilities. It's all there, in black and white. But dig a little deeper, and the cracks in this perfect explanation begin to show. Whispers, long dismissed as hysteria or Cold War propaganda, suggest a different sequence of events. These aren't just fringe theories. They come from engineers who worked at the plant, from first responders, and even from declassified documents that paint a far more ambiguous picture. Picture this: a highly protected, state-of-the-art nuclear facility operating under strict Soviet oversight. The idea that everything could go so spectacularly wrong due to simple human error, without any other contributing factors, starts to feel incomplete. Especially when you consider the sheer scale of the event, the almost instantaneous destruction that defied conventional understanding of a runaway nuclear reaction. What if the disaster wasn't just caused by human error, but perhaps facilitated by something else entirely? Before that fateful explosion, there were reports, often suppressed, of strange occurrences at the plant. Unexplained power surges, equipment malfunctions that couldn't be traced to a specific cause, workers reporting a pervasive sense of unease, an almost invisible pressure that seemed to hang in the air. One of the most chilling anecdotes comes from Anatoly Dyatlov, the deputy chief engineer, one of the men blamed for the disaster. He consistently maintained that the initial explosion was not a steam explosion, as officially stated, but something far more violent and immediate, something that tore the reactor apart from the inside before the steam had a chance to build. His accounts, often dismissed due to his vilification, describe a blue flash, a blinding light, an energy discharge unlike anything he'd ever witnessed. Then there's the testimony of multiple firefighters and plant personnel who reported seeing a bizarre, glowing orb of light hovering above reactor number 4 in the days leading up to the explosion. They described it as a large spherical object, emitting a pulsating reddish-orange glow. Some even claimed it was visible during the initial moments of the catastrophe, right before the roof blew off. Were these mass hallucinations a collective psychological response to severe stress, or were they witnessing something truly extraordinary? Further adding layers to this enigma are the accounts of strange encounters in the contaminated zone years later. Researchers and liquidators spoke of inexplicable electromagnetic disturbances, equipment failing for no reason, and an unnerving silence that was often broken by sounds that couldn't be identified. And then there are the blackbirds, terrifying winged creatures described by several eyewitnesses as gigantic, with glowing red eyes, seen flying over the plant before and after the incident. These accounts were, of course, officially attributed to stress-induced hallucinations or local folklore. But the sheer number of independent sightings, often by highly credible individuals, presents a troubling pattern. Think about it. A cataclysmic event, a state eager to control the narrative, and a series of unexplained phenomena that defy the conventional scientific understanding of a nuclear accident. What if the human error was merely the final trigger and something else had been destabilizing the reactor, pushing it to its breaking point? What if the glowing orb was not symbolic, but a direct active participant, perhaps an external energy source that overloaded the reactor beyond any human capacity to control? What they discovered next, or rather what they didn't investigate, truly changed everything. The immediate Soviet response was to seal off the truth with concrete and censorship. The focus was on containment, both of the radiation and of information. Any accounts that veered from the official narrative were swiftly and brutally suppressed. Eyewitnesses were discredited, their stories dismissed as fabrications or delusions. Why? If it was simply human error and a flawed design, why such extreme measures to silence anyone who spoke of glowing orbs, strange flashes, or unidentifiable creatures? Could the true cause of the Chernobyl disaster be something that the Soviet regime found far more terrifying to admit than a simple human mistake? Something that challenged their scientific understanding, their technological prowess, and perhaps even their control over the narrative of reality itself? The possibility is chilling that the catastrophic failure of reactor number 4 was not an isolated incident, but part of a larger, unexplained phenomenon that manifested itself with devastating consequences. The official story offers a sense of closure, a clear cause and effect. But the whispers, the anomalies, the eyewitness testimonies, they suggest an open wound, a lingering question that decades of silence have yet to answer. To this day, the truth, the full unvarnished truth of what happened at Chernobyl, may remain buried beneath layers of lead, concrete, and carefully constructed lies. We rebuild, we learn, but some mysteries stubbornly refuse to be contained, and Chernobyl remains one of the darkest. If you want more mysteries like this, the next video explores the inexplicable phenomena surrounding the Tunguska event, another explosion, another cover-up, and another question mark hanging over history.